Hello and welcome to Silver Screen Snobs. I'm Tom Rowe.
I'm David Lees.
And be sure to check out our podcast episodes at silverscreensnobs.com where we get really in-depth about the films we're discussing. Today, however, it's our first YouTube video. We're just going to be sharing our thoughts briefly on Michael Bay's brand new film, Transformers: Age of Extinction. Here's a look.
I think we just found a transformer.
Alright, well, that looks like pretty much more of the same. So just really briefly to recap, what did you think of the first three films?
Well, the first one, we think 2007, it was kind of fun time. I mean, it wasn't high art or anything, but it was okay. The second one was kind of diabolical. It was just really off color, and it didn't make any sense, and it was way too long. It took itself way too seriously. The third one, however, I kind of enjoyed because it seemed to realize how silly the whole concept was and had a bit more fun with it. John Turturro was really funny in that. I mean, it just seemed to be a bit of a lighter touch.
It was at times, yeah, definitely dragged on though. Something that brings us towards this fourth film is the beginning of the third one. You have this whole dark side of the moon thing, so they're trying to insert this real history, real historical event.
I was okay with that.
Oh, it was nice until they completely forgot about it 10 minutes in. So we get the same thing here with Age of Extinction. We get supposedly the Transformers are the cause of what wiped out the dinosaurs, and then that leads us...
Obviously.
Oh yeah, of course, obviously. That leads us to Mark Wahlberg in Texas repairing robots. Supposedly broke, but he's going to look at a cinema that's completely run down. Not really sure how he's affording this, but no one seems to mind. And he runs into Optimus Prime out the back. Before, however, Michael Bay makes sure he puts in a middle finger to anyone that ever loved anything even remotely related to cinema by having a crotchety old man who used to run the place walk past an old poster of a film and... commiserate about how these days all we get are remakes and sequels. The poster he's pointing at, what's the... it's El Dorado, yeah?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So he's the old guy's talking about how everyone's just making sequels and reboots these days, and he points at an El Dorado poster and says, you know, that's a classic film there, and of course El Dorado is a remake, because it's a remake of Rio Bravo, which John Wayne made. I think they also made Rio Lobo later. Same damn film. Anyway... So he's trying to sort of prove himself against criticism right away and saying, everyone makes sequels and reboots, happens all the time. You know, I'm not a bad guy, hey.
The thing that bothers me the most about Michael Bay making films is that he's a businessman. If films didn't make as much money, if he couldn't make $1 billion off one film, he'd be sitting somewhere in a high-rise tower. He's the Gene Simmons of the cinema world. Gene Simmons always said he didn't want to be a rock star, he wanted to be a businessman, and he succeeded. He did very, very well at that. He turned Kiss into a brand. Michael Bay has turned this type of cinema into a brand. And I know it might sound crotchety and expected that we're not going to enjoy a Transformers film, but seriously, I go into a film like this really wanting to have fun.
Yeah, you expect fun, and that's the one thing that's really lacking from this film is just simple fun. It's funny you say that about him being sort of more of a businessman than anything else. I got this quote, not really a quote, it's something from the IMDb trivia, so it's, you know, it's not news per se, but I'm going to assume someone got this from an interview or something with Bay. He was talking about how he went back to the franchise, because he wasn't going to direct this one at all. It's going to be someone else. And it said, Michael Bay, not going to direct this film, but he changed his mind after Dark of the Moon came out, and he finally got to visit the Transformers ride at Universal, okay? The ride. Upon seeing fans waiting 3 blocks for the attraction, he realized he wasn't ready to give up the franchise just yet. I mean, that says everything, doesn't it? He just looked at all those dollar signs and went, wait a minute, I've got to make more money out of this. People still love this crap I keep throwing out there, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
And he's sort of casting himself as the hero in the movie that his life. He's thinking his reason for living is to save everyone and go, I must make another Transformers film. These people
need me.
They expect it of me. I will save them with Transformers.
It is bizarre. Another bizarre thing about the film, called Age of Extinction, is that we were promised some pretty neat-looking shots of dinosaurs, some robot dinosaurs.
Some pretty good money shots in that trailer of robot dinosaurs.
Yeah, so everyone's thinking maybe, even if we didn't enjoy the first 3, go in, have a look, might enjoy it this time. Turns out that's not the case. I think we get about 2.5 hours in and we get 10 minutes of these dinosaurs that are so poorly realized, and there's no thrill. For some reason, he manages, with all the CGI, all the money that's thrown at the screen, there's never any kind of sense of awe. And whatever you might have thought about the recent Godzilla film, even Pacific Rim, there are definitely shots, action shots that are done well enough that when the big reveals are done, you feel a sense of awe. And here, it's amazing how joyless this film is.
Yeah, now, he tries to force it so much with the slow motion and just all the sort of weighty drama he's trying to tie into it about family and stuff, but it doesn't matter. You don't care. The screenplay doesn't care about the characters, so why should you? And then the last half of the film is just one slow motion battle scene after another. And in this film, you've got the Autobots, which are the good guys. I'm pretty clear on this, right? Then you got the Decepticons, which are the bad guys. That's fine. In the other films, I could figure out those two factions. That was easy. In this film, you've also got prototypes of something that the government's making, some other kind of Transformers that they can control. You've also got a bounty hunter that's got his own army of robots that aren't Transformers, or maybe they are, I'm not sure. They don't seem to transform, they just, they seem to be foot soldiers. Then you've also got the Dinobots, and all this is thrown in together in one big mix, so you don't know who's fighting who in these battle scenes. So you don't care, because you're not invested in anything at all.
It's just become a complete mess. And there was another salvation. We thought maybe dinosaurs would save us. Turns out that's not the case. Surely Mark Wahlberg will help turn this around from Shia LaBeouf.
The worst thing about Wahlberg in this film is he is just a complete asshole. Like, he's not a good guy. He's not a charismatic, fun guy, which he usually is. He usually brings that to a role. And I like Wahlberg a lot, but in this film, he's just such a douchebag. There's a point where he actually picks a fight with some poor guy on the street because the guy has his car crushed by a spaceship or something, and the guy gets out and says, "You better have insurance," which, is probably what you would say if your car was destroyed and you just escaped with your life. And instead of, reacting like a human, Mark Wahlberg's character threatens him and gets his gun on him and pushes him down. This little guy with glasses, he's being a big bully. And the worst thing is, the director of the film, it wants you to sympathize with Mark Wahlberg and say, yeah, show that guy.
You better have insurance. It's a freaking spaceship. Sweetie, hand me my alien gun.
So that clip is indicative of the kind of stuff that Wahlberg's left to carry here. His charisma doesn't get a chance to shine through at all. In fact, his entire personality is just based off the fact that he doesn't want his teenage daughter dating. That seems to be about it.
Teenage daughter that Michael Bay's camera uncomfortably leers at for most of the film.
Yeah.
As he does, as he's wont to do. Another thing, that people always defend Michael Bay as being like a solid action director, and they like to pull out that card. I would say in this film that that's not even true. The editing is all over the shop. You can't tell what's going on in the chase sequences. You don't know who's chasing who. There's a sequence where characters are dangling from high wire above an entire city, and it should be really tense and it should be scary because they're up really high and they could fall and die, and I felt nothing at all. And I have vertigo, I'm terrified of heights.
That sense of vertigo, surely. I mean, we never get any sense of how high up they are. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Because you're right, when that shot started, I thought this is going to be terrifying.
It's just your generic green screen. You know that they are nowhere near, they're not even outside. You can tell just by looking at them that and the acting is, it's what it is.
I think we just found a transformer.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today. Dave, any final thoughts?
I'm just amazed how unfun the entire experience was.
Absolutely. This whole franchise is a pretty wacky concept. For some reason, Michael Bay just can't deliver any of the fun that's inherent to the concept, He just insists on having it all very serious, and all the CGI just clouds the screen so you don't know what's going on. This is honestly one of the worst films I've seen in a very long time.
Alright, well, let us know on Twitter what you thought of the film. Otherwise, you can find all of our podcast episodes at silverscreensnobs.com. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.